Hey and welcome back. Continuing our platinum run of Soul Reaver 2 as determined by Raziel winning the coin flip. We're starting just outside the Light Forge today in hopes of getting into Moebius's time streaming device. Let's get started. So the trophy that we are working the hardest to get is going to be the Vampire Champion trophy, which is to complete the game in under 6 hours, which even with watching cutscenes is totally doable if you skip most of the combat and in general know where you're going. So, today we're going to the Light Forge, which is going to be on the other side of this wall. There we go. Now this is something that's really interesting here. Have some tentacles. And then this thing in the ground. But it sure evokes the Elder God, doesn't it? Alright, so this is the doorway just outside the Seraphan Stronghold. And since we have the Dark Reaver, now we can get inside. And since we're working on the Finish Him trophy, we want to keep an eye out for any unique weapons that we haven't used to finish an enemy yet. And also, we're skipping most of combat, which means we pretty much just smack them and then run by, if they're in our way.
These murals left no room for doubt. These winged creatures were indeed the architects of the pillars. And while the images were difficult to decipher, the pillars appeared to banish or diminish their enemies somehow.
Again, great lore building. And it's such a cool thing you can do with the Dark Reaver. Shadow Bridge. Again, the Slua are not nearly the pushovers they were in Soul Reaver 1, so be careful. And definitely lose a lot of time fighting those guys. Okay. Hey, leave me alone, I want this axe. Okay, so who were these vampire thralls? Now there's a couple of possibilities. One is that they are vampires who have been tasked to guard these shrines. Now, that makes sense in that when they die, they have monster souls. However, the other possibility is that they are humans that were serving the ancient vampires. There's a long tradition of necromancy in Legacy of Kain, starting at the very beginning with the catalyst of the whole story, Mortanius the Necromancer. Either possibility is plausible. We see them in the Reaver Forges and then other sites associated with the ancient vampires. So we know that they were there to serve the ancient vampires, regardless of whether they were vampire or human. Most likely, because we don't see wings on them, they started out as human in either case. So you can save a little bit of time on the clock by skipping these puzzle fly-throughs, but especially if you haven't done them before, they can be really helpful. Even if you haven't played the game in 20 years and need a reminder, they can be really helpful. So, I'm gonna keep an eye on those. You see, it forces us to go to Spectral, so we can't take our Dark Reaver with us from outside. Ah, nice. And that's feed ourselves, which is very hard to not get. Slua dog! Freaking huge Slua dog. Yeah, the spectral enemies definitely get more varied and interesting through the series. Okay, so these eyes. Learn from this guy's mistake. You do not have to. You do not have to make the mistake yourself. Now, one of the things that you can do with the Dark Reaver is it can blind that thing. And here's a weapon we haven't used. And again, only just trying to get the unique weapon kills, so don't need to fight. Unless they're annoying you. Alright, is there any axes around here? This is one where it makes sense to fight. Thank you. So we're missing something there. Okay. That something needs to go there too. So we need light to open that door, and need the Dark Reaver for something over there. Well, it looks like we need a lot of Dark Reaver that we don't have right now. Okay, this guy with the shield is as our greater thrall that we want to use our axe on, but we just need to get that back. Yeah, check out that mural. Okay, I think it might be. There we go. So this is what we need to reflect some light around. The problem is, I just recently discovered, after playing this extensively for a year, that Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered has photo mode, and yeah, it's kind of ridiculous that it took me that long. But now that I know it's there, I just have been playing around with it relentlessly. There we go. And we'll just run in the complete opposite direction of where we should be going. Yep. Yep. Hall of Thralls. Whew. That was close. Okay, so there's our font. And there's a block that we can pull. Oh, you're gonna eat off my plate, are you? Okay. There we go. I'll climb these pillars. Yeah, the conduit here is a long ways away. Okay, yet another thing we need the Dark Reaver for. Alright, these guys are just straight up annoying me now. Okay, so now... Now we've got a way up. We'll get our Dark Reaver. And these guys are now going to pop up out of the Reaver fonts occasionally, so gotta be careful. Or else we'll get mildly annoyed. Just run down this Hall of Thralls here. Go. Of course, now I lost my axe. Nice job, Raziel. His fault, not mine. Of course. See, this would have been the perfect opportunity for that. Oh well. We will have another shot at it. Now we can open these guys. See, I was trying to set it down is what I was trying to do. But oh well. I'll turn this guy. The light's shining in here. Now we need to go shine the light on the other side. That is, provided I don't get my directions confused. Which I'm old, it happens sometimes. Pal, I am doing stuff here. And that will allow us to carry the object that we need. Now let's go get the object that we need. Hall of Thralls. Where's your boss? Ah, here we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that doesn't work, but this does. And then this goes in the statue. Bonk. Built this whole elaborate thing to just kind of wreck itself a little bit. Now, there was a Sunlight Reaver cut from Soul Reaver 1. And this kind of calls back to that. Yeah, there we go.
I plunged the Reaver into the forge and imbued the blade with the elemental power of light. Thus armed, I now had the means to re-enter the Stronghold and finally use Moebius's time-streaming device to accomplish my own ends.
Dun dun dun. And then the way that you increase your life in Soul Reaver 2 is by collecting the Reaver Forge, going through the Reaver Forges. And now these gems that we see, well, not everywhere, but in very specific locations, we can aim and fire a projectile. And boom, the door shall open. Now back to the Seraphan Stronghold. Be a little murky under here, so we'll just kind of look for the center. 'Cause we might have to reopen. There we go. Save point, but we're gonna keep going for a little bit. And the doors are open. Yep. Yep. Also, Michael Bell voices some of the human enemies, which is kind of funny when you're so. Yep, see right there? That's Michael. Our own Raziel. As I've said before, as I said last episode, don't fear the Reaver. Even if you get it all the way pumped up, it will feed on you, but only just a little bit. And when it is aroused like this, don't laugh. It is the most powerful weapon you have. Wait a second. Oop. Looks like I got turned around. That almost never happens in this game. That's what I get for not going through the big doors, the big double doors. Let's see. Use your sword. Use yours. Can't use their weapons. I've already used the poleaxe. Another amazing scene. Here we go. Had a little vampire hunter as a treat.
Show yourself, Kain.
Here, Raziel. Everything is decided here. You cannot comprehend the magnitude, the rapture, and the tragedy of this moment. And yet you must, if Nosgoth is to be dragged from the wreckage of its damnation.
I understand only this, Kain. That you and Moebius have impelled me to this moment simply means I can trust neither of you. I don't know who's pulling the strings, but it no longer matters. Because I'm cutting them. I set my own course from here.
If it were only that simple.
Your fatalism is tiresome, Kain.
And profoundly ingrained, Raziel. You must understand, our presence here doesn't alter history. You and I meet here because we are compelled to. We have always met here. History is irredeemable. Drop a stone into a rushing river, the current simply courses around it and flows on as if the obstruction were never there. You and I are pebbles, Raziel, and have even less hope of disrupting the time stream. The continuum of history is simply too strong, too resilient. Except, then how do we explain William here? The beloved boy king turned tyrant. In my youth, I witnessed William's rise to power and his transformation into the nemesis who laid waste to Nosgoth.
Keep your distance, Kain.
Years later, I stumble upon a chance to journey back in history, unaware that the entire affair has been carefully orchestrated by Moebius. In my wisdom, I seize this opportunity to murder the young king before he can ravage Nosgoth, and thereby
seemed like a good plan at the time.
Catalyst Moebius needs to ignite a genocidal war against our race.
I warn you, no further.
This one reckless act unravels the skein of history. The nemesis never becomes the nemesis. William dies a martyred saint. I, the vampire assassin, become the author of my own species' extinction, and Moebius profits from it all. I destroyed a tyrant only to create one far worse. But how can it be so? How, if history is immutable? The answer is here in this room, Raziel. Moebius propelled William and me together, but ensured first that we were both armed with the Soul Reaver. The Reaver is the key. Two incarnations of the blade meet in time and space. A paradox is created, a temporal distortion powerful enough to derail history.
Is this your sorcery?
Not mine, Raziel. Yours. You have nothing to fear from me, Raziel. You hold all the cards.
Then perhaps I should test your sincerity. If what you say is true, you should be terrified. I could kill you here and now.
And so you do, Raziel.
What's happening?
We're hurtling towards our destinies, Raziel. What you feel is the pull of history rushing to meet us. This is where history and destiny collide. If you truly believe in free will, Raziel, now is the time to prove it. Kill me now, and we both become pawns of history, dragged down the path of an artificial destiny. I was ordained to assume the role of Balance Guardian in Nosgoth, while you were destined to be its savior. But the map of my fate was redrawn by Moebius, and so in turn was yours.
This is madness!
Fight it, Raziel. This moment does not have to be an ending. It can become a prelude.
I can't.
You can, Raziel. Look inside and see that it is so. You have the power to reshape our inevitable futures.
Such a cool scene.
Poor William.
And it has one of the best jokes.
What is this?
History, a pause, a paradox, Raziel. Even now, the time stream strains to divert itself, finding its old course blocked by your refusal to destroy me. The future is reshuffling itself to accommodate your monumental decision. This is where we restore ourselves, Raziel, and reclaim our intended destinies. It may yet be possible for me to assume my role as Balance Guardian and return the pillars to their rightful inheritors.
To the vampires. And this is the destiny you have urged me to discover. I don't know what game you and Moebius are playing, Kain, but I refuse to be your pawn. Unlike you, I still revere whatever shred of humanity I've managed to preserve. You will not use me as the instrument of your messianic delusions.
Very well, Raziel. I'll not ask you to trust me. Your truths are for you to discover alone.
Humble words for one who presumes to teach me a lesson at every turn.
Then continue your journey and learn your own lessons, Raziel. Remember, Moebius led you here, but you walk away unfettered. A champion of free will and conqueror of false histories. There is much more for you to unearth, if you have the heart for the truth and the will to see it.
Okay, things to talk about. My one issue with this scene, and actually a lot of the scenes in Soul Reaver 2, is the music is not exactly tailored for the cutscenes. It's just the same background music as the rest. And I feel like it's a missed opportunity because there's some real drama happening here. Let's have the drama happen in the music too. One thing that was great about the Ozar Midrashim version that was used in a lot of Soul Reaver is it is a very dramatic track. And so anyway, that's comparatively small complaint. Now, this scene is, of course, this is where another new history is created. And we've seen this happen once before to this point in the Blood Omen series, and that is, of course, when Kain killed William. These history-shifting events are just fascinating to watch, and I love them so much. And it is, this is where the story of Legacy of Kain gets complicated and mind-bending, and these dialogue scenes are dense and they take some time to parse and they beg to be replayed and rewatched multiple times. And I love stuff like that. And I think a lot of the fandom does too. Being able to get something more out of it on every repeated viewing or playing. Anyway, this is one of the reasons why I love Legacy of Kain. Moving on. Also, in general, you want to try to re-imbue the Reaver every chance you get. Okay, we want to go this way. Nope. Nope. Ret. Now, last time we were here, we didn't really look at the murals. There's Terrell, Rahab, Malchiah, Duma, with Keith David's character from Gargoyles behind him. Just kidding. And Zephon. And then, of course, Raziel. I swear, nobody will let me just appreciate art anymore. I also love how they'll just kind of sit there. Let's see. Did I get turned around again? I did. Easy to do in the circular chamber. There we go.
Here it comes.
Okay, let's hope I didn't get turned around again. There we go. Here's the courtyard. Dogs are so skinny. And they're wearing blades on their faces.
Seize him!
Oh, don't make me kill your dog. All right, back here in this chamber.
Ah, yes. I like that look on your face, Moebius. You really don't know what to do now, do you, old man? Here you are, caught without your damned staff. I suspect things aren't progressing quite as you'd hoped. You're not used to the fly turning to confront you in your web, are you?
Kain's devious influence has poisoned your mind, Raziel. Now you see betrayal everywhere, even in your closest allies.
We were never allies, Moebius. Conspirators, perhaps. Briefly.
Why did you not kill Kain when you had the chance? He was at your mercy.
Precisely. I had a choice. and I chose mercy. And now I know your sordid little secret. The significance of that displacement I felt when the two Reavers came together. Strangely enough, I was enlightened by the devious Kain, not by you. In fact, I've learned much more than you counted on. I understand now how you've tried to manipulate all of history for your own personal gain. But now all your little schemes are whirling in ruin around you, aren't they? All because I chose to exert my will for once, rather than obey the demands of sorcerers and spirits and demons, all singing the same tiresome refrain, "Kill Kain." I'm setting my own path from here, Moebius. I intend to discover the truth behind all of this.
But you condemn us all with this impetuous act.
Hardly impetuous. It took all the will I could muster. Has my refusal to kill Kain reshuffled your carefully stacked deck of cards?
You really think that you're exercising your free will, Raziel? You're simply Kain's servant.
I do not serve Kain. I merely did not kill him.
Raziel, do not forget your purpose here. You are destined to be the savior of Nosgoth.
Oh, I'm sick of hearing that particular phrase.
Love that.
As for saving Nosgoth, so far I see precious little reason to bother. And I'll choose my own purpose from here on out, Time Streamer. Right now, I choose to manipulate you for a change. Go. In there.
What are you doing?
Come, Moebius. You're a cunning serpent. You'll piece it together, I imagine. This error is of no further use to me. You will operate this device to provide me passage. I want to see the world in a simpler time, before the Sarafan began their crusade.
And what about Kain? You're leaving your core behind.
You kill him if it's so damned important.
You need only touch the two poles of the switch, and the device will transport you. But
It's rather foolish of Raziel to trust
You've
Moebius
lost
here.
your powers of persuasion, old man. Rot here and forget me.
No one could have seen this coming. Moebius says.
Even as I emerged from that infernal time-streaming chamber, I suspected treachery. The Stronghold was vacant, derelict, abandoned.
And now we have demons. You definitely want to use the Reaver for demons because nothing else is going to be anywhere near as powerful. Oh, there we go. And that's for feeding the Reaver. Okay, this looks a lot like the swords that the vampire hunters use, but we'll take it with us anyway. Let's cover off. Now that we're in a new era, we need to be looking for new weapons. Instead of vampire hunters, now we have demon hunters. Not of the K-pop variety, though. Sometimes you want to go where everyone knows your name. Don't need to fight them. Alright, so the Reaver's feeding on us a little bit here, but that's okay because the trade-off is totally worth it. You saw how quick that went. And the demons are where this really comes in handy because they are tough. Again, we are trapped, so nice. This place is just lousy with demons.
Any doubts about the era I now occupied, this grotesque tableau certainly eliminated them. For here was Moebius, long since murdered by Kain, lionized and beatified as the martyred leader of his bloodthirsty crusade.
He does love
And
his
if I
statues.
required further evidence, I needed only to behold the gruesome trophy Moebius held aloft. A severed head of Vorador. The final triumphant kill of Moebius's cutthroat mob. His execution marked the annihilation of the vampires. Far from channeling me into Nosgoth's past, Moebius had propelled me over a century to its ghastly future. The intent behind this little detour was unmistakable. Having failed to make me his obedient assassin, Moebius intended to keep me ignorant of my true destiny, which clearly lay in Nosgoth's past. While his deception only reinforced my purpose, Moebius had effectively stranded me here. This left me no course but to explore the era I now occupied and see what changes the century had wrought following Kain's ill-fated decision. Perhaps time had cleared a path for me into the mountains, where I might unearth more clues behind the mystery of Janos Audron.
Yeah, that Reaver dash. Okay, whenever you see a font, it's usually a good idea to imbue it. Imbue the Reaver. And there's a light font over there too, but and then here's where things might start getting a tad difficult. And if you need a life refill, go into Spectral. Now the demons can shift back and forth, so be careful. And also this door, yeah, you don't necessarily need to fight the demons.
Raziel.
Oh, look who it is.
What pathetic charade is this now, Moebius?
No charade, Raziel.
only the entreaties of this martyred spirit.
Your pleas mean nothing to me after all your deceit. You have propelled me into Nosgoth's future, Moebius, and left me stranded here.
I am truly sorry, Raziel, but it was necessary. Consider it the last valiant act of a doomed man. You have strayed from your purpose, and now behold the result. Gaze upon the wasteland you and Kain authored together.
I fail to see how I'm responsible.
You spared Kain, and by doing so, you have released a multitude of horrors upon this world. I can accept that Kain has murdered me, Raziel. As the Time Guardian, I foresaw that incident long before it occurred, and I take some small comfort in the fact that Kain remains the sole survivor of his vile breed.
Such a racist.
You have single-handedly made my sacrifice meaningless.
Your argument is disingenuous, Time Streamer. I cannot see how killing or sparing Kain's future self would alter these events. This wasteland was created by Kain's original refusal at the Pillars. And amidst all these twists and turns, that event has never changed. You are cunning, Moebius, but I think you've gotten tangled in your own web.
As Kain clings to his precious seat of power, the Pillars sink into a mire of decay, dragging all of Nosgoth down with them.
I don't think this has anything to do with the Pillars, or Kain's failure to sacrifice himself. I think you're simply afraid, because you don't know what he's up to. He's a wild card, isn't he? And you don't want his influence in your game. Which is why you wanted me to eliminate him. Well, now that he survived, you have no idea what's coming, do you? Maybe, for the first time in your entire life, you're terrified that he may have truly found a third option out of the dilemma you orchestrated for him.
Kain's lies have addled your mind. Leave this place and trouble my spirit no more.
If you even are a spirit, you've forgotten. I have a way to tell for sure. If you're willing to risk it. I didn't think so. Either way, you lose.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I love this projection of Moebius, and I'm not 100% convinced it's a ghost. But I love Moebius attempting to manipulate Raziel here and failing, or at least making Raziel think that Moebius has failed. But he's right. Like, why would killing Kain's future self restore the Pillars? Before chronologically speaking, Kain's original refusal. Just run around like an idiot. Nope. Poke, poke, poke. Don't resist the poke. There we go. Again, we don't want to miss a chance to imbue the Reaver, in case we need it. So one thing you should take a listen for as we go through here, you'll hear a little crying bird sound effect. And that same sound effect was used by Kurt Harlan Larson in the Information Society album Don't Be Afraid on the track The Ridge, which of course, as you know, is the album that the Soul Reaver theme, Ozar Midrashim, originally came from. There we go. And our old friend, the save point. We can shave a few seconds off of that. 2:14:25. Again, looking pretty good time-wise. I know the videos are running longer because I stop and talk, but sorry, demon hunters. The only thing golden here is my Reaver. Oh, different kind of demon. He probably smells awful. And now, we get to see a familiar face. Or half a one.
These were the pillars so familiar to my blighted eyes. But now that I had begun to learn their true significance, I regarded the pillars' destruction with a new, enlightened sense of horror. And I questioned now whether Kain's simple refusal, his mere ambition, could truly have caused such devastation.
Asking the right
I
questions.
felt that some darker influence was at work here. As I approached, I discerned the spirit of Ariel, bound here now for more than a century.
Forever am I bound, hope abandoned, my spirit tethered to this place. What destroyed the circle could not touch me, for I was newly dead and beyond harm's reach. I alone was spared the descent into madness, and Kain alone was spared the pain of death. When Napraptor's poison seized Kain even in the safety of the womb, much more than just his destiny was lost. All of Nosgoth lost balance. Consider us now, both of us less than we once were. I, pure but insubstantial, and Kain, terribly real, but corrupted.
Your imprisonment here has deranged you, spirit. You fixate on Kain because you believe he is the tether that binds you here. But we both know he is not the author of your agony. The pillars were subverted by dark forces, invited by the Guardians themselves. The more I learn of your circle, the more I see a tangle of nested manipulations.
Kain handed them their victory. They sought to topple the pillars, and he was their willing instrument.
Or was he their unwilling pawn? Would it blunt your wrath to know that Kain's dilemma was calculated to bring the pillars down, regardless of the choice he made? And that the devastation would have been even greater had he chosen the path you would prescribe for him?
You are a subtle, deceitful creature. But your clever arguments do not absolve Kain. He must die for the pillars to be restored. There is no other way.
Then consider this more ominous possibility.
Another great line.
What if Kain's death does not restore the pillars? Consider that it may simply be too late. that this world may be beyond redemption, and that you may be bound here eternally.
Why do you hound me, demon? You can see that I am captive here. Show me some mercy.
Like the mercy you showed your fellow Guardians when you set Kain on them? Or the mercy you showed Kain when you kept him ignorant of his destiny while you used him as the scourge of the Circle? Or perhaps like the mercy you showed your beloved Naprapta when you made him Kain's first kill?
You are cruel. Why do you torment me?
I'm merely looking for answers, Ariel. Very well. I'll leave you in peace. But know this about you and this purgatory from which you long to escape. You're merely at the threshold.
Ouch. Man. Okay. So, skip ahead a little bit. We're going to talk some spoilers here. This is not the first time Ariel has seen Raziel. And the first time she saw him, we will get to see in Defiance, she was a little less than kind to Raziel. Now, of course, Raziel doesn't know this. Chronologically speaking, this is the second time that they meet. But Raziel's experience of Ariel is, of course, from Soul Reaver 1 and much, much, much different. Because by then, she's been stuck for thousands of years. At least 1,500, 2,000 years, which, like he says, merely the threshold here. When we get back to the material realm. Okay, there's another opportunity for a trophy here with this demon. We're going to leave him alone for now. And this is going to cost us a little bit of time, but it'll be worth it. Yeah, I got time. Okay, so go to the checkpoint there. And now we're going to go back to where the fire demon was. Now this trophy is for getting him to pull off an attack that you rarely ever see. I never saw this attack in 23 years until this. So he comes up, and you want to get a little bit away from him so that he just is kind of... Yeah, he's not coming towards you. There we go. And give him a second there. And then rotate the camera so he's almost out of view. He may not do it. We may have to reload. But we'll try to beat these guys first. There we go. Now he's attacking. Okay. I'm getting a little further away from him. Okay, now he's stopping. We'll rotate the camera. See if we can't get him to do it. Want to be there exactly a certain distance away from him. Just kind of bait him a little bit there. Okay, he stops. Okay, so it looks like that's not going to work. Oh, there we go. He started to do it. Ah, there we go. He spawned a groundling. There we go. And now we can move on. So if he does the grab move, that means that his full move set is loaded, and he'll spawn a groundling if you can keep the correct distance. Yeah, super rare attack. I mean, I've heard from many players who've never even seen that, myself included, until I got the trophy for that on PS5 not long ago. So yeah, this is probably the most reliable demon that you can get that from. There's another fire demon trophy that we can get, but we'll do that later. Back to the store. Meh. Sometimes if the demons follow you close enough, you'll see him on the other side of the door just hanging out. And of course, very familiar surroundings. One of my main issues with Soul Reaver 2 is that there's just not much to explore. It's basically a track that goes from one end to the other that you see 3 different incarnations of for the 3 different eras you visit, which is not as interesting as it could be, you know? Let's go get yelled at again. Although, to be fair, if it was Tony J yelling at me, I'd be totally fine with that, and I would listen for as long as he had something to say.
Raziel, the failed assassin. You had Kain at your mercy, but lacked the courage to fulfill the act. And now you see the wasteland wrought by the tyrant's hand, by his selfish decision to preserve his own life, even when it meant sacrificing the whole world. This is the fate of Nosgoth, as long as Kain remains alive.
An ironic condemnation, given this guilty sin. One would think you'd torn down the pillars single-handedly. What are you trying to obliterate as you drag your loathsome body through this chamber? And why, as Nosgoth descends into madness and misery, do you appear to thrive? Things in this world, I am learning, are rarely what they seem. You, apparently, are no exception.
I am the engine of life, the source of Nosgoth's very existence. I am the hub of the wheel, the origin of all life, the devourer of death.
Or maybe you're just hungry. Could it be as simple as that? Wouldn't that be poetic irony? The great adversary of the vampires turns out to be the biggest parasite of them all.
Do not test my patience, Raziel.
Sassy Raz is the best Raz.
I made you, and I will unmake you if I become so inclined.
As your agent, I am beyond death.
There are fates worse than death, Raziel.
Oh, I see you now as you truly are. A cancer. A spooling parasite burrowed deep in the heart of this world.
Go now. Play out your pitiful rebellion and take your place among the destroyed, the used, and the damned. But know this. You are mine for eternity. You have always been, and will always be, my soul reaver.
Okay, I'm sorry, that look to camera has always made me just laugh. I know it's not meant to be funny, but it is. Oh, and if you swim down...
You would be wise to heed me, Raziel.
Yeah, you can usually get an extra dialogue line or two. My favorite is when you land on his eyeball and he says, "Tread carefully." This cavern again, however... It is... The water level has gone down a bit. Okay, speaking from experience here, get this dark font. Imbue the Reaver. Trust me. Because we're in the era we just visited before this, the water level was much higher, and this was a bit of an easier time to get through. But, as you'll see, it's a little bit trickier to navigate. Yes. You can technically make that jump, but you'll fall in the water a few times. And this is why we need the Dark Reaver. This is another one. You can technically make this jump, but why lose the time doing it again when you're trying for Vamp Champ? Yes, I just said Vamp Champ. And see, I love these guys. These are callbacks to some of the Dark Eden monstrosities that we saw in Blood Omen 1. Oh, we're gonna need to eat. gonna save here. Alright, this has felt like a long one, but we're gonna go just a little further. Yikes. Does this thing have a soul? Let's find out. Ah! Again, Soul Reaver 2's version of crowd control is just run around like an idiot, swinging the Reaver. There we go. Oh, it does have a soul. It had a soul. Ow. See how blunt the end of that thing is?
The passage of time had indeed cleared my way forward, enabling me to explore the northern mountains of Nosgoth. I was anxious to discover if some evidence of Janos Audron's existence might still remain.
That way, please. Thank you. More demon traps. Okay, that dog actually looks like a dog. Which is kind of funny given that this era seems like a much more desperate and desolate place to live. It seems like the dogs from the Moebius era should be in this one, and the dogs from this era should be in that one. But maybe this means they just bred them to they just bred them to be bigger and tougher because they needed them. Ustenheim.
Here I discovered the quaint hamlet of Ustenheim, now long abandoned and collapsing into ruin. Legend claimed that Janos Audron terrorized its villagers until the Sarafan hunters ferreted him out and destroyed him. If there was any truth to the old tales, the lair of the infamous vampire could not be far away.
To be fair, when we played Blood Omen 1, we totally terrorized the villagers by sending them into the Heart of Darkness Spirit Forge. All right, here's a save point. They can chase me in here all they want. Dog just scratches by its ears there. Hey, no, bad. Okay, we're looking great on time. All right, we're going to take a little break, and next time, we're going to go see if we can meet Janos. And we'll probably end up forging the Reaver again, because that's pretty much going to be our Legacy of Kain experience from now on. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like what you see and you want to see more, do the things.
Wow.